Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Benton with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said in every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
We have longtime Quiet Riot bassist Chuck Wright with us today. He's proud and excited to release his debut solo album, Sheltering Sky, on Cleopatra Records on May 20th. The album's 11 tracks illustrate his impressive songwriting ability as he either wrote or co-wrote all 9 original songs on the album. The new single from Sheltering Sky is Throwing Stones, a fierce and passionate call for the end of armed conflict, a call which couldn't be more perfectly timed for today's world.
And we're excited to talk to him.
Yes.
So welcome to the show.
Hey. Welcome to our show.
Hey, everybody.
Now, I always like to start out the show the same way. As you know, the last couple of years have been rough for a lot of people,
They have,
especially
definitely.
entertainment. So how has COVID affected you, and what have you done in this time to make it work?
Well, the exact reason that I have a solo album is due to the pandemic, and I tried to take a bad situation and make it good. I finally had the time to sit down and compose again. Now, I know you mentioned Quiet Riot, which I've been in and out of I was in the band total 26 years, but since 81, off and on. But I played with a lot of people. I had my own band called House of Lords on RCA, and I've done over 100 albums.
Oh, wow.
But in the last many years, between my weekend flyouts with Quiet Riot, and I run an event in Hollywood called Ultimate Jam Night at legendary Whiskey A Go-Go, which we have between 50 to, we've had as many as 100 professional musicians that come together based on a theme for the show. Like this coming week is called Britain Rocks, so it's all British acts, and there's so many of them. This is part one. We're going to be doing many parts. So, cutting to when it hit, I found this time, and I'm looking around at the world with all the empty streets, and everybody's shuttered in, and it felt like apocalyptic to me. So I just sat down and just started writing this piece of music, this instrumental piece of music. And I actually used iPhone just to film myself, and I edited together some footage of like New York City and Rome and all these major cities where there's nobody there. And I had one character in the video that's in a hazmat suit, like he's the last man on earth left.
Oh, wow.
That was the feeling of it. It's called The Weight of Silence, because everything's silent now, and how heavy that is. So I put that out myself. And then I get a call from Troy Lucetta, who's the drummer from Tesla. Who I know. He goes, "Man, I saw your video. I love that song. Can I play drums on it?" And I go, "I haven't even considered that. That's great." I go, "Sure." He's got a studio. I sent him some tracks to play to. He sent it back. And at the same time, an amazing guitar player named Alan Hines, who's a jazz fusion guitar player, R&B. He's amazing. Anyway, he also said, "Hey, I love that song. I can throw some guitar solo." So he sent me some solo work that I edited together, creating a thematic feel. And then I heard my friend Derek Sherinian, who was with Dream Theater and Sons of Apollo and has a ton of solo records out, and his new one's called Vortex, which is killer. I contacted him and go, "Hey, you want to throw some Mellotron and some synths on this?" So suddenly it turned into a whole different animal, right? So I re-edited the video and put that out. And I just found out a couple days ago that it just won Best Instrumental and Best Video on the Rock Music Alliance Awards. And it was up against Joe Satriani and John Five and all these other people. I was totally surprised. But that song it starts off my new album. It kind of sets the mood for the whole record. But the pandemic is why I never intended to do a solo record. I mean, that's not what I was writing. I just sat down and I wrote music for me. This is music I want to listen to. And when you listen to the album from the beginning to end, you're going to hear music prog. You're going to hear jazz fusion. You're going to hear funk. You're going to hear like Led Zeppelin type ballad kind of music. I even have a Celtic piece on there. I have a Robert Alison Krauss type song on there that's more folky. So it covers a lot of territory, and it kind of tells the whole story from beginning to end. So I bookend the album with that finished version of Weight of Silence and the original version, which is just very stark with just me playing everything. So that bookends the album. It feels like very cinematic to me. I mean, I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd and a lot of more deeper progressive bands. I know a lot of people just know me as this rock bass player because I've done a lot of that, but I've actually co-produced 2 reggae records. I was in a flamenco group for 2 years. I've done country records. I've done a heavy rap record with Sendog from Cypress Hill. So I do a lot of sessions, and I like to play. If it's good musically, I like it.
Yeah.
In the 70s, I had a prog band, and that's kind of, this is how it all started. I saw Yes when I was 15 at Whiskey for $5. I had no idea, never heard their music, but I heard that was a good band. So I went in there and I totally twisted my head around. I was into, at the time, Deep Purple and Black Sabbath, and that totally took me to a whole new world of prog music with ELP and Gentle Giant. King Crimson is a good example. In my 10th grade high school class, I used the song 21st Century Schizoid Man as the assignment, and the teacher was so blown away she made the whole class listen to the entire album. Listen to the lyrics. So that's kind of my upbringing, and that's why this developed into an album. Was I had the time. I ended up having 5 songs completed, and then I did this video for a cover of Bjork's song "Army of Me," which is really an unexpected song from somebody that people know me as this rock. And I put together a video with a 3D animator friend of mine named Drew Lanius, and at that time Ruth Ginsburg had just passed, and we've just gone through all the unrest throughout in our country, and I decided to make the Army, because she said the lyric is "Army of Me," be Ruth Ginsburg. So in the video, you see an army of Ruth Ginsburgs marching on Washington, because there's still an army of people that still believe in human rights here, and we got to fight for them. That's what my feeling on it is. So that's how that all came about. And there's unrest going on in the video. It was timely, for when I did it.
Very.
That's like for us. We started this show January of 2020.
We did.
Okay.
And so a couple months before the pandemic, and I remember original plan was maybe 100 interviews first year. We thought if we could do that, it'd be a great foundation. And then everything gets shut down, and I'm sitting there. So I'm watching things get shut down. I told Sandy, I was like, this could be our time to shine, because everybody's
stuck at home.
They're at home, and they're going to need a place to talk and all that. And
that's a good thing.
People that normally wouldn't come on a brand new show might be willing to come on a brand new show.
Right.
And so we reached out to everybody. Next thing you know, we started getting people like Randy Travis, Sarah Evans, Ed Asner, the actor, coming on the show.
I know Ed Asner,
And we're just sitting there like blown away. And because of that step up and the pandemic, we ended up doing over 300 interviews the first year, and we're over 500 now.
Wow, that's fantastic.
We just ran, it was like, what? We knew that this kind of opportunity would probably not be there ever. Now at least we hope it won't anyway. But we knew that the odds are we would never have this kind of position as a brand new show. And we just had to run.
Well, congratulations. You as like with me, you took a bad situation and tried to turn it into something positive, which this has for me. And how you mentioned my at the big top of the show about my newest single. It's called Rolling Stones. Again, something that where the stars aligned. The lyric on that, it's an anti-war message, but the lyric was written by Joe Retta, who wrote the vocal parts for it before the Russian invasion. But when I made the video, I felt that I should tie that whole event into the video, so there's some of that you can see. It's the whole concept of the song really is as humans, we started with throwing stones at each other, and now we're launching missiles and throwing grenades at each other. When are we going to learn? How long is it going to take? So that's basically the message in the song. And one reviewer compared it to Primus meets Stevie Wonder, which is and when I go, you know what? I think she's right. When I listen to it, I wanted to go modern and unique with it, but at the same time, kind of have some 70s soul.
Sure.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely love that. Now, as you know, a lot of people see the glory in what you do, but they don't kind of see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes to get to top levels within entertainment. I always want to hit that side of it because, as you know, people kind of gloss over this side, and they think if you got talent, you'll make it. But we both know that that's not true.
Even
and so,
I just had this discussion with a very successful boy. He's had one of his albums sold 3 million copies, but I was with him last night. We're talking about how we've had this success, but at the same time, the people around us, our management and all that, totally ripped us all off.
Wow.
I mean, his story is like, oh my God, like millions. I'm going, really? I go, it's terrible. My first album sold 10 million copies and I made $1,000.
Oh, wow.
So,
and that was back when there was money.
Yeah, I know that's that side of the story. It's just, they kind of take advantage of your naivety and, you're new. Oh, you're just excited to be there. And oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to have a record. I get to rock. Yeah. So they're going, yeah, okay, let's get in there and just pick this guy to rock because he won't know the difference. Anyway, so that's a downside that people probably don't know that much about. But I got to tell people think it's glamorous. I was doing since 2011 weekend flyout dates, which involves like getting up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, driving an hour to the airport, getting on a plane, flying, 2 flights or sometimes 3, and then driving 2 hours in a van, going right to sound check, doing the show, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go back to the airport to do it all again in another stop and then another one. And I remember doing 4 shows in a row, and I never had the opportunity to get 3 hours of sleep in a row. It was constant, just go. And it's just not what you think. It'd be nice if it was like, hey, I'm getting in the Learjet.
That's why you have to have a passion for it, because if you don't, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I know. You really got to love what you're doing. And I'll tell you what, you go through a lot for that 75 to 90 minutes that you're on stage. So I was telling people, I go, look, I get paid to travel. Performing now is a privilege as far as I'm concerned. Wow. My age and everything. So.
And I know a lot of people don't know this too, because we as we've interviewed a lot of people, we've learned this. I would have never even imagined this, but we've heard several stories where, and of course, not all labels do this. So I don't want anybody, an executive from a label, say, "Hey, I'm slamming labels." I'm not. But I've heard stories where a label they're grooming somebody. And you come up and you're coming up and they see you as a threat. So they come to you and say, look, we will sign you.
Yeah. And they'll shelf you.
Yep. And they'll shelf you for 3 years.
I've heard so many.
I've seen that happen to a few people. Yeah.
And here it is. All of a sudden, you're like you said, you don't read the fine print. You're excited. Oh my God, I'm getting on this label. It's finally happening. You sign that dotted line because you didn't have an attorney look at it. And the next thing you know, you can't even do any music.
You can't do anything. Your hands are tied. You've got to be, before you execute a contract, you really need to, that's something that I always tell, what's your motto? Get it in writing, but make sure you know what it says,
Yeah.
But I mean, in the language on that thing, now you have to go, are you saying that blah, 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 or are you saying this? Because you can read different, the way, I think legalese is written so that the attorneys can decipher each other and make money. Is really because they make it so complicated. It's like a foreign language to me. Some of the language in the contracts that I've read, I've had plenty throughout my career. But yeah.
And then the sad part is, I've heard several stories where not only do they shelf them for 3 years, but then when that 3 years is up, that other person that they put all that money in is taken off. So then they just cut you.
Oh yeah, then you're done. Yeah.
So it don't matter now because their person that they put money in has made it.
Yeah, it's you're basically a commodity. It became a point where there's no heart and soul. One of the things that happened, I think, to the record industry in general is that they stopped developing artists. You're saying, well, they took kind of help. They stopped even doing that. I'm telling you right now, if even 20 years ago, if Bruce Springsteen or U2 came out, they would have not been successful. They would not have had a career because neither of their first albums did anything. And the way the labels are set up, they were giving you 6 weeks to prove yourself that you're going to get traction. But in those days, they developed artists. They worked with them. They looked for songs. They helped them tour. They helped them build. I mean, Springsteen built in your area. He came up from a tri-state. He built this huge foundation in a tri-state area there. And then it went from there. It wasn't an immediate success. And nowadays, you don't have that opportunity. If you don't happen right away, if you're signed to a label, you know, like a major, they'll just go, okay, next.
And I think the double-edged sword, because, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, social media is great. Now you can be seen. But it's become, I think, a double-edged sword, because now labels are like, you know what? I don't care how good you are. If you don't have that following, we're not signing you.
Well, that's what they look at now. They look at how many followers you have and what you've already done and all that. And another problem with today's, you know, the great internet and all that is that they've killed that whole being able to make an income via selling product, because everybody just downloads it for free. It's like it's put out there, and in Spotify, you know, what do you get, like $50 if you have 1 million streams? I mean, I don't know, it's something stupid. And there's also, I thought it was 30,000, but my friend last night said that it was 80,000 songs released a day. Wow. And how do you rise above that? And that's, this is my first time out trying to do my own thing. And
so you're learning all this, like,
I'm looking at all this, and I'm going, oh, who did I forget to tag? Oh, who did I have to hashtag? Oh, I'm trying to do these posts and make sure that it reaches the right amount of people. And then there's algorithms you got to deal with, and Facebook won't allow you to like send people to YouTube. You can put it up, you can put your link on your Facebook page, but they're not going to send it out to too many people because they don't want people to leave their platform and go to
YouTube. And see, that's what we're like. We stream live to both YouTube and Facebook. To be honest with you, once our YouTube channel gets big enough, I'll probably won't stream to Facebook anymore because they're doing so much to bring everybody down. Why do I want to stay over there?
Yeah. Well, one of my workarounds has been I do a YouTube link and I do an upload to Facebook, so it lives on there. It lives on there for me as far as there's a couple things that I've done with videos, and I just did a 1 minute movie style trailer for the album that I think kicks ass. But anyway, I put that. It's on YouTube, and it also just goes up to my socials like Instagram or whatever direct. Yeah. So it doesn't take anybody away. They just have to look at it. It's only 1 minute, but you can hit it and look at it. You know?
Yeah, because I think that's where a lot of people are doing who want to focus mostly on YouTube is they're, you know, if it's a 30-minute thing, they'll take a clip of it, put it on Facebook. So they'll upload it so that you're still using Facebook video, but then to watch the whole thing, here's the YouTube link.
Yeah. And even in the comments, you can write in the top, look at the first comment to know where to go. And that's another workaround. But it's like, look at all the games you got to play just to get, I mean, for me, this album for me is, I want this to be my legacy. I don't want the very first album I ever did who knew it would sell 10 million copies. I don't want that to be my legacy. I just played on it and I sang on it. I oversaw every element on this album. So I would prefer that I just want people to hear it. You know, I'm not looking to like get rich or do it or whatever. I just check it out, listen to it. I think you'll dig it. You know, it's basically the way I feel about it.
Now, you've been doing music for a long time. You know, a lot of people would ask, when did you know you wanted to be a musician? But I always like to go deeper than that, because which you kind of did talk about that part of it already. When did it click for you that you could make a career in this?
Well, I first got started, you know, at a very young age. I think I was almost 15, and I kind of played guitar, and the neighborhood kids that were older, they were 16, 17, 18. They had a band, and they said, hey, you play guitar, right? And I said, well, a little bit. And they go, do you think you could play bass? And I said, well, wait a minute, isn't that only 4 strings? And I said, you know, and I said, well, let me ask my mom. And I went to my mom and go, hey, I could be in a band if I can get a bass. She goes, okay, let's go get you a bass. And I picked it right up. You know, my biggest influence was Jack Bruce with Cream. So when I first started playing, I did my first gig with this band. It was at a UCLA fraternity party, and I made $75. I drank beer, and the girls thought I was cute. And now keep in mind, up until this point, I was in military school for almost 9 years. I was second in command of the battalion. I was going to go to the Air Force high school, and then it set you up to go to the Air Force Academy.
Oh, wow.
The Air Force, because I wanted to be a pilot. This was my dream. And then that one gig changed my whole course. My mom's going, wait a minute, you just spent almost 9 years doing this? And I excelled in that role, the leadership role. I guess that's why my event, Ultimate Jam Night, works. But anyway, so that's when I knew it was I just, once I got a taste of it and doing it, that was it for me. I remember being a little kid with my tennis racket playing to all the shag carpets, and those were all people, Beatles. I remember seeing the Beatles and going, oh, I want to do that. I remember that. So now all those little shag carpets turned into people, because I've been very blessed to have played for as many as 120,000 people is the most, and 55,000 or whatever, and different big festival shows in Europe and in Japan and here in the States. But yeah, so it started that one gig. And an interesting story about Jack Bruce. He just had his birthday a couple weeks ago. God, rest in peace. I got a bass, a Gibson EB3, because of what he was playing, right? And first song I ever learned on bass was "Sunshine of Your Love." So, cut to years later, I'm on tour with Vanilla Fudge, and the opening act's bass player inherited millions of dollars because his father had passed, and he was the CEO of Pfizer. He has a huge music gear collection. I end up going to his house after the tour, and he goes, check it out. There it is. It's the bass that he cut "Sunshine of Your Love" on. It's Jack Bruce's bass. I went, oh my God, I got to play it. It's the first song I ever learned, right? And I played his bass and cut that song. So it's a fun, little nugget of trivia there.
Wow.
So that's how I became a bass player. I also love playing drums, but I just didn't want to set up all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just forget it. I'm going to be the bass player. I had both in my house. Eventually, we had a drum set, and part of the reason I think I got the gig with the band is I had a place we could rehearse, honestly. But I had a room in the back of the house that was big enough so I could set up and play. So
yeah. Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see you, but they don't see the team behind you. In our opinion, teams never get the love they deserve.
They don't. On
our show, they get a little love. So take a few moments and tell us about the team that kind of helps you be who you are on a day-to-day basis.
Well, on a day-to-day basis, I'm constantly working on, I have an event. We started in 2015. I started in 2015 called Ultimate Jam Night, and you can check that out at ultimatejamnight.com. I coordinate between 50 and as many as 100 professional musicians in a jam. We call it Ultimate Jam Night, but it's really not a jam. Everybody knows ahead of time what the song is, what key they're in. I send a YouTube of the version, and if it doesn't have an ending, I give them an idea for how the song should end, and the tuning. Some songs are in E flat, some songs are in standard tuning, or whatever it is. But I have people that work with me when I do the event. I have a killer stage crew, guitar tech and drum tech. My partner in this actually does the stage management, but we have a script. I have an MC. Yeah. So we have a script. When we're bringing each person up, we say, hey, let's bring up, whoever, Mickey D from Motorhead came up. We've had a lot of great guests. Dee Snider and Robin Zander, and the list goes on. You can see photos up, and it's a different theme each week too. So we flesh out what the theme is going to be. This week it's Britain Rock, so we're just doing British artists, and there's so many of them. This is just going to be part one. And a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks back, we did a benefit for Ukraine for the World Central Kitchen, and did an auction, raised a bunch of money to help, to try to help that situation. We've done we've done a few charities over the year, but I also have a social media person named Jessica Chase who does the posting, most of that, and I actually am a graphic designer, so I've done a lot of the actual show posters, and then she'll take over to do the individual ones. That's the way it's working now. But so there's a team behind it, definitely. On that thing. And my own personal thing with this new record, through Ultimate Jam Night, partly. We've had well over 2,000 musicians, and we have some some that are reoccurring that come a lot. And I've become friends with so many great, talented, amazing people that I invited them. I said, hey, check this song out. You want to play on it? Check it out, right?
Yeah.
I have there's a girl named Whitney Ty who's actually does the vocals on 3 songs, and I saw her sing at she came down and did Ultimate Jam Night. I mean, I saw a video of her, but seeing some of the lives different. It was fantastic. So when I did Army of Me, I'm thinking, oh, who's the right voice for this song, And I thought of her. We started working together, and I love working with her so much. We wrote a song together that's on the album. It's called Time Waits for No One. And then I had her sing.
And it don't.
Yeah, I had her sing one of my favorite songs on the album called Giving Up the Ghost. It's kind of like a Sarah McLachlan kind of vibe song. Yeah, it's a real beautiful song and perfect voice for that. And I brought in Jeff Scott Soto to sing one of, a lot of people I don't know if you know who he is. He's Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He sang for Journey. He's done, he has his own solo albums out. Anyway, so I thought he would be great because a lot of people don't know that he's an amazing R&B singer too. And this song is a total funk R&B type song. So I said, hey, check this out. It already had the vocals written. I go, hey, Jeff, check this out. You want to sing it? And he goes, oh, this is killer. 3 hours later, I get his vocal tracks. I went, what? And I wouldn't change a thing on it. It's amazing. And the same thing with Joe Retta, who I was in Heaven and Earth with. He's a super talented guy that was in Sweet and Dio Disciples. I just sent him the music to Throwing Stones. I said, do your thing, let me hear it. And he said, like the guy said, it's like Stevie Wonder. His vocal, he can sing, even though he does Dio amazing, he can sing like Stevie Wonder too, and that kind of thing. It turned out great. I mean, I'm blessed to have so many great artists surrounding me. Hence the name Sheltering Sky. I've always felt like I didn't want to call it Chuck Wright's umbrella, but that's how I've kind of felt. I kind of feel like an umbrella, with all these musicians under, and I'm trying to put everybody together. And through Ultimate Jam Night, there have been bands formed, and guys got hired for tours. People even got married that met there. It's a social gathering of musicians. And when I started it, DJs in Los Angeles were taking over, and they can't jam, So let's. This was not a good thing. So the musicians needed a place and I said, let's do it. So I put it together and I can organize, and I've had help organizing. Pauly Z is my MC, who's the current singer of Sweet. And he had a thing in the, you might know him from ZO2. He's from New York. He had a TV show called ZO2 for a couple of years. It was based on his band. Yeah. Anyway, he's an amazing MC, but he also, after I did it for 2 years of organizing, I couldn't take it anymore. And I swear, it's like herding cats. It really is. So Pauly, he came on board. He started organizing, and then the pandemic went away. And when we started back, he goes, no, I can't do it anymore. I've got too much going on, and I just can't deal with it. So I'm back to organizing shows again. So it's very time intensive, and it's frustrating when people don't get back with you and just trying to communicate, and then you get something all set up and then somebody drops out at the last minute. That's happened. I've actually had somebody call me, I don't know, it was like an hour before you're supposed to be on stage. Oh, I'm not going to make it now. What? We're trying to scrambling to find, hey, you know this song? Hey, you know this song? To try to I remember that guy. We built a song around him with horn section and keyboards and a full, just to make that song is kill, and then the guy doesn't. He just flippantly whatever. It's like, oh man, it's not that.
I mean, we go through that again on a lower scale, not like that. We put on a thing, but we go through that same thing with our show. We reach out to a bunch of people, and most people don't ever get back to us. I mean, I can handle. Look, we'll pass for now. I'm okay. I get so many of those. I'm used to that. But there's some people that they never do, but I will email every month because again, I've gotten people who have said no many times, and then finally they say, yeah.
Finally, okay, I'll come and do it. Well, you need to be on every label's PR person's list to do it. That's, I'm not sure how Cleopatra's people found you, but I think it's great. I think getting the word out however you can is what to do, and this is great. being able to get, and you ask great questions, so it's a cool thing.
Yeah,
I'll tell my friends that are putting out a record, call Chris and Sandy.
Oh,
we appreciate
definitely appreciate that. We love what we do.
We love this, and it's not easy. We have, you know, our 30 to 60 minutes that we have with each guest. That's the time we shine. That's the fun. That's fun.
Yeah, that's
outside of that, nobody sees.
Yeah,
that's true. But you have to do all the research too. So you have to.
Yeah, we do it all.
Oh yeah.
Now my goal. I'll be honest. My goal is not to over research. I want to learn about the guests live, you know, because you know I do just enough to where I know I know where to guide it.
Right.
But at the same time, I want to keep it open enough to where if you say something, we go there. So, I mean, there's been shows where I've brought somebody on and we get off and we're like, I didn't see that route coming.
But it was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You go off on a different tangent. Well, that's like any conversation. It leads to different paths. A certain thing will spark a memory, or you know, whatever. That's the way conversations go in general. Is that it just kind of winds around.
And that's how we try to keep our show.
It's good to try to stay focused on what you're trying to get across. Which for me, it's the finally after 40 years in the business, doing my own thing and getting to oversee everything, and so it's a great thing.
Love that. You know, speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our little 10-year-old that we bring on to ask a couple questions. So Sandy's going to go get him.
I'll get him.
And
I did an interview with the 10-year-old recently. And you know what his question was?
What?
Which kind of caught me way off guard. He goes, "So what do you want your last meal to be?" I went, what?
Oh, wow.
That's a good one, actually.
I know, but that's a weird question from a 10-year-old. I go, "What are you thinking about death for?" It's like...
That's funny, and you know, we've got a 3-year-old that when she gets older, she'll be plugged into the show too, because we try to keep it within the family here.
Well, that's nice.
So, outside of what you're already doing, what do you see as next for you?
Well, right now I'm just working on this record, and I've got some sessions coming up. I've been working with a thing called the Legends of Classic Rock with the original. A founding member of White Lion, the drummer Greg D'Angelo, and a singer that was with Great White for over 12 years, I think, is Terry Luce, and my longtime friend Kevin Jones, who toured with Ozzy and Randy Rhoads on keyboards, and we just did 5 weeks out, and I've got a show with them on the 26th. It's a lot of fun. We just do songs from our, from the different albums we put out.
Wow.
Yeah,
so here's our big 10-year-old. He's like,
wow, you're only 10? You look
Yeah.
like you're 16 to me.
Wait, what?
Don't grow up too fast, though, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy your youth.
He's almost as tall as Mama.
Yeah.
Enjoy your youth.
Yep.
So, what's your favorite food?
See, it's like that question. What's your last meal? What's my favorite food? I had it last night. Pizza.
Ooh, because
I had a barbecue chicken pizza last night, actually.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
My favorite food is pizza.
Yours too?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. See? What do you like? What kind?
Perot sausage and supreme, and also pineapple.
He's got 4 different faves.
See, I can't do the pineapple. It just doesn't. It's too weird. It's like putting peanut butter on mayonnaise or something.
It's funny because everybody would always ask him when he said his favorite pizza is pizza. Have you ever tried pineapple? So everybody finally convinced him to try it.
Yeah, it's a weird combination of sweet and the whatever the tomato. It's hot.
Okay, so what's your favorite TV show?
Well, you know what? I don't really watch any regular. Ozark is the last as far as something that was a continuing series that I just finished, which was an intense, great show. But basically what I do is I watch shows on Netflix and Hulu and things like that are an ongoing series. And I like all kinds of things, but I really love sci-fi a lot. My favorite movie is Blade Runner as far as the sci-fi world. But yeah, just, Netflix. And it's been very helpful having Netflix during the pandemic.
So what's your favorite TV show and
movie?
movie?
All right, my favorite TV show and my favorite movies, The Minions.
Oh, the little minions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're so cute. You know what? If I go outside and look up the hill, Universal City is right there, and there's this giant minion up there that I see every day.
He gets to see that every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, every day there's a giant minion up there. I mean, huge. It's as big as a building.
Yeah, our 3-year-old loves the Minions, so she would probably make us go see it every day.
Yeah, they all have their own little personalities, don't they?
Yep.
Evil ones or some nice ones. Or
Bye, thanks.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, he definitely loves to do the show, and we've had him on 98% of the shows.
Oh, good.
So who knows where
you went to the food question right after I told you about the food question from the 10-year-old.
Yeah, it was funny when you talked about the food question. I was like, well, he's gonna have. I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's gonna have a food question.
Yeah.
That's a standard
Well,
question.
at least it wasn't your last meal.
That's true. Just what's your favorite?
That's a crazy one. I've never heard that one.
Yeah, from a 10-year-old. I went, what?
Yes.
What does life mean to you? From a 10-year-old with his voice that low. No. Anyway.
So, what's a song out there you've heard that you wish you wrote?
Oh man, I guess the one popped right into my head. I guess I should take the first one.
Yeah.
It's a song called "Shape of My Heart" by Sting.
Oh wow!
I'm a huge Sting fan. Tin Sumner's Tale. If it was on vinyl, I would have wore it out, but it's on digital.
Yeah.
I mean, when I remember wearing out my Close to the Edge album, the Yes, when I was a kid, it suddenly was like all just noise because I played it so many times. Which that which reminds me, it's such an experience that the youth today don't get to enjoy. I mean, I learned about so many bands by going to the record store, and I made a friend with the guy there. This is like when I was 16 or whatever, around then, and he knew that I liked English. Like I was getting in. He goes, "Hey, check out this magazine from England. It's actually a newspaper. It's called Melody Maker." And I'm reading about all these bands, and there's Humble Pie, and there's Yes, and so when those bands came to LA, I would say, Mom, can I go to the Whiskey? I want to see this band called Humble Pie. They're really great. Or wherever they were playing. I think they were Santa Monica Pacific. I mean, I saw David Bowie at Santa Monica Pacific doing Ziggy Stardust, and when Queen first came to LA, they did a back-to-back show. I saw both shows back-to-back. Their very first tour, Black Sabbath's first show at the Whiskey when I was a kid. The loudest thing I'd ever heard at that point in my life. It's like, wow, but, yeah, but that's something they don't, like going through, looking at the vinyl, and actually the artwork now isn't near as important as it used to be. I mean, it was like you get the album and you not so much was given away back in the day. It's like you couldn't wait to see the band live because you really only had the album cover and you didn't really know too much more about it unless they came out in a magazine and you saw one little picture this big. Yeah. So the excitement about seeing them live was so great, but now you're like pummeled with imagery and videos and this. Like, okay, I saw it already. Why do I want to go? And, I mean, that's my opinion. I think that
that makes sense.
I think the kids today missed out on a great experience.
It definitely was. So where do you want to be in the next 5 years?
Oh, I would like to be on an island drinking a martini or a pina colada and not thinking about anything but how beautiful the sunset is. I haven't thought that far ahead. I mean, there's a lot of things I'd like to do, but the kind of things I want to do involve a lot of money. So production-wise, I'm really into big production and into big shows, and I've had some ideas even scripted out that I wanted to do. I almost had a show in Las Vegas. A couple hotels were very interested. They just didn't have enough funding to do the kind of show. We didn't want to do a stringed down version of it. Full thing. So that's the kind of thing I really love. That I've gotten into. I don't know if you've seen my last two videos, but I've gotten into video production a lot. It's something I've always loved. When I was a little kid, my mom was dating a guy at NBC, and I used to go down and watch them film different shows there. Martin, for instance, had a show back then called The Gold Diggers, and I'm a little kid. I met John Wayne and Bobby Darin and all the and I watched these shows come together. So ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved that aspect of it. Even so much when I went to concerts, not only am I enjoying the music, but I'm going, oh, the light. Oh, okay. So you shin busters coming from the side really is a cool effect. I'm thinking of all these production things. So I've always been into that aspect. And now that, doing my own videos and kind of overseeing things like that and working with an amazingly talented cinematographer editor, we're able to create something that looks like a very expensive product cheaply, just because you the creative eye for things.
Yeah.
And editing makes a big difference in everything.
Love that.
So I might go into that. I'm thinking about, that's something that's been on my plate going, I think I might do a video production company on the side and play
wow.
But I have to get on a plane. I'm so tired of being on planes. I mean, come on. I was doing 8 flights a weekend, maybe more.
That's crazy. That's a lot.
Yeah, like you said, it's not as glamorous as, like I was saying, it's not as glamorous as people think. That's for sure.
Well, but talking about side things, we're in a process of buying a drone because little Chris wants the drone so bad.
Oh, he does.
But we bought one of the lower end ones, but with a good camera on it, because we're going to kind of see if we can use it to make money, then we'll end up buying one of the higher end ones.
Yeah, drones are great. The guy I work with doing videos, we haven't used one yet in the videos, but he's got some wonderful videos that he's done using a drone.
Yeah, it's definitely the future. And I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
That's funny. Low Chris wanted one so bad. So I'm like, you know what? Let's get one that we can make money with. That way we can maybe cover the cost of it. And then if it's something that we really like doing, well, we can turn it into a business model.
Right. You should. Got to always look at different avenues for revenue streams. However you can,
Especially in this day and time, a gas might eventually be $10 a gallon.
Might be.
I don't think it'll go there, but you never know the way the world is. I mean, as far as what I understand, we're just being price gouged. That they'll use any excuse there is.
Yeah.
There really is no shortage. We're just going to start charging you more money because there's a perception out there.
Because I'm like, it's got to eventually. I was like, where's it going to stop? And it's like, where's that bottom? We got to find it.
Well, yeah, it's unfortunate that that's a gauge for how well somebody's doing in office too, which is too bad because it's definitely a corporate decisions that are making that happen. It has nothing to do with the government.
Yeah. So as you look further down the road, and what do you hope that you never forget?
Hope that I never forget. Well, I hope that I'm not, as I get way down the road, that I don't, the Alzheimer's thing is terrible. I have a lot of great memories. I have stacks in my closet back here of photo albums before we went digital. I used to cut out like every magazine article. When the songs were charting, I would cut out the charts to see who we're up against. When I was in Jafria, we had a hit song. And I look back on that chart now, and we were up against Like a Virgin, Run to You, Neutron Dance, all these songs that are classics. I'm going, wow, this is amazing. I couldn't name you one song in the top 10 right now. But back then, there was all these classic songs that so I have that. That's those kind of things. Just looking at a picture can spark so many memories. So I try to keep that stuff. I do have a lot of things online. I'm on Facebook, so people can. I have photo albums of my history, and there's some things on chuckwright.com too. And you can find out all about what I'm doing on my website, which I built myself. And Ultimate Jam Night has a website I built. But there's videos and there's links and all that stuff. But I just hope I remember everything. Honestly, there's I guess one of my fondest memories has nothing to do with music.
Yeah.
It was my mom moved to Maui, and we drove up to the top of Haleakala, which is a volcano. 11,000 feet, 12. I don't know. It's way up there. But we watched this sunrise together. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. And I want to hold on to that.
What are some sources of inspiration for you?
Some sources? Well, here's one that happened on this album. I got a phone call about Frankie Benelli's passing, the drummer that I've been working with off and on since '81 by Riot. And I sat right down and my 12 string was sitting there. Picked it up, and I wrote the song "See You on the Other Side." And it all came out in one time. The full arrangement, even the chorus idea, the lyric. I finished out the verses with a singer. I went to this singer on purpose because he had been working with Frankie most recently and was a good friend of his now. So I said, "Hey, do you want to finish this out with me?" And then I went to the keyboard player that he had been working with, and Mr. Jimmy, the guitar player he had been working with. He's in Japan, something on it, so that I kind of incorporated, his friends. But it also, that song is about everybody that we've lost along the way. Really, everybody can relate to it. About "See You on the Other Side," and that was an inspiration. If you're asking about an inspiration, but that's a good example, I think, of being inspired to write something, and the fact that it just all happened at one time.
Yeah, absolutely.
A song, you keep going back to it and go, "Oh, you know what? That bridge could be better. Oh, this could be better." This is just all just one,
came together.
The bridge it's a very interesting bridge, and interesting chord changes. And I go, who would be a great? It's for a guitar solo, so I go, I need like a Jeff Beck, really melodic type solo for this. So I reached out to my friend Jude Gold, who's with Jefferson Starship, and I said, "Listen to this." He goes, "Oh, this is great." So he played on it. He's on a couple other things, and his solo on that is brilliant. But I guess that's one inspiration. And I've had like breakup. I wrote a song with House of Lords called "Standing on the Edge of Your Life" when my then girlfriend I was with for years was going through a really, really tough time, and we ended up breaking up as she got into drugs and all this terrible stuff. And I just felt like she was standing on the edge of her life right there, and so that inspired that lyric and music. So different life events can sometimes you just write because you're feeling the groove. Like there's a song on my album, the only one where I started with bass. It's called "Farewell Horizon," and it's an instrumental. And it started with me just doing chordal type things on bass, and then I added another bass. Then I started playing acoustic guitar to it, and I actually had a full song. I go, "Oh wow!" Got a hold of my friend Toshi Yanagi. I was like, "Wow, this is great." I got a hold of my friend Toshi Yanagi, who's you might know him. He's the house guitar player on Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay.
He's an amazing guitar player. I mean, I'm going to go see him this weekend. Jazz fusion band, he does every style great. But I thought he'd be perfect. He said, "Hey, could you come up with some nice melodies and do some shredding on this section and that?" And he just sent me something that was so beautiful. The song just grew, and that's the way it's kind of happened. It's like different people have come out, and that's why it's not Chuck Wright. It's like it's a whole name. The Sheltering Sky is everybody.
Love it.
Awesome. And what would you like for your legacy to be in music? What would you like to be most known and remembered for?
Well, that's part of why I want this record to see the light of day for a lot of people, because it really represents. I haven't ever done my own thing.
Right.
It really represents musically what I'm about. There's so many different styles on the album. It's almost cinematic and an experience wise from top to bottom. From the beginning to the end of the song, the 11 songs. I know a lot of people will think my legacy is the very first record I ever did in '83 because it was such a huge. Who knew the first thing you ever record is going to become a #1 album? That album changed the fabric of the music business right then, because "Come On Feel the Noise" became such a huge song that all the record labels go, "Okay, no more new wave bands. Let's get guys with hair and play hard rock." Goodbye Knack, goodbye Motels, hello Cinderella, hello Rat. That was totally what kicked the doors open for all of the other bands. But that's a big part of history. And I had my own thing at the time, so it's like I was so shocked. But it's more about this. It's this is my hope, is that this sees enough attention where people get a chance to hear it. That's they go, when they think about me, they think, "Yeah, that thing he did was so amazing, all the music on it." That's really what he's about. It's not about rocking and doing this one song that I'm known for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you could say anything to your fans and followers, what would you want to tell them?
Well, yeah, there are some fans around the world. Basically, please have a listen. Go in with an open mind and just experience it. It's immersive, and I think you'll dig it. And I hope to see you at some point on the road. I have a lot of friends out there that I visit when I go into different cities. And basically, that's it. Please check it out.
Love that.
There you go. There it is right there.
There you go. Be sure to buy it.
Absolutely, yes.
So
yeah, you can get it anywhere. You know, it'll be out. It's coming out tomorrow. It'll be on all the different platforms. Cleopatra Records has it. You can go directly to them, or you can go to chuckwright.com, and there's a link to get it. Check it out. The package was done by my close friend Glenn Wexler, who you might know his work from Van Halen, Rush, Deep Purple, on and on and on. He's like one of the top guys in the business, but he happens to be my best friend. And he said, "Hey, you want to do your CD package?" I go, "Hell yeah!" even though I dabble in graphic design, I said, "Yeah." You know.
So as we close out here, what advice would you give that person who's watching, who wants to do what you do?
Well, first and foremost, do it because you love it. Do not get into this because you think, "Oh, this is a way I can make money," because that's not what it's about. You have to love what you do. To go through what you got to go through to do just 75 minutes of a show, you got to really love the music. You know, it's like I said earlier a couple times, it's not as glamorous as you think. And it's nice to get pats on the back and all that, but you can't take that to the bank. You know, so you know, do it because you love it, but have a backup plan. That's what I tell young kids. They always ask me, "Hey, how can I make it?" And I go, you know, especially now. In the 80s, there was a formula. I thought that you could actually do and maybe have good success with it. But now it's you know, there's so many songs released, and there's so many. It's hard to get above it all. So do it because you love it, and that's my main advice is do that. And then if you do anything, somebody tells you they're going to do something, get it in writing.
and know what it's saying. Yeah. Love that. You know, we really enjoyed having you on today, and we definitely look forward to having you back down the road.
Nice missing you. I'm meeting you, not missing you, meeting you.
And, same here.
I hope to see you again. There'll be more things coming, I'm sure. So
awesome.
You take care, and thanks for your time.
All right, you too.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.